So it's time for vlog number 3. I'm Jane, I'm the Cornish Knitter. I am in Falmouth in Cornwall in the UK. Cornwall is the far southwest tip of the UK. We're surrounded by the sea and the coast. And I think from a lot of your comments, a lot of you absolutely love Cornwall or have come to know Cornwall through sort of different sort of programs that you've watched and sort of really wanted to come and visit. So I hope you don't mind, but I have started to include a little bit more footage of travels around Cornwall, because I do like to get out and about. And living down here, which is a tourist area, quite often in the summer it's just too busy for locals to get out and see some of the beautiful places. So you do tend to find that us locals get out and about probably in spring, and then after summer has passed and school holidays have passed, just so that we can get to enjoy the spaces. We love having the visitors. Cornwall is dependent on our tourism, and our hospitality industries and retail are really dependent on you lovely visitors coming in, but it is nice when it's quieter too, so that we can get out and about and enjoy those lovely places. So thank you for everybody that's subscribed so far. It's been amazing. I'm really, really grateful. We've gone over 3,000 subscribers, which has absolutely blown my mind. I really can't believe it, actually. But I really want to hear from you what you would like to see in future sort of vlogs, or I am thinking of doing a Q&A session, so let me know below if that's something that interests you in the comments, or maybe a live session or a knitter natter. You know, what would you really like to see? It's really lovely to connect with people, so any way that I can do that and that you would like to see, really do let me know. Or a number of you have mentioned that you'd actually like to see some of the shop content as well. So part of what I do is I own a yarn shop here in Falmouth with my sister Sandra, and we stock mainly British natural fibre yarns. We do have some from overseas, but we do make sure that they are from small independent businesses like ourselves, mainly run by women. We want to support ethical businesses. We don't stock from some of the big suppliers. We try to source and in some beautiful yarn for our customers. But some of you have said that you'd like to see some shop content. I didn't necessarily want you to think that this vlog was about me selling what we have in the shop. If you want to see some content from there, just again pop it in the comments below. I'm more than happy to share some of the sort of a tour around the shop, so you can see what we do, or even do a vlog from there and you can do a Q&A from there. But let me know in the comments, because it's really sort of making sure that you get to see the content that you want to see. It's interesting because I was talking to a customer the other day who'd seen the vlog and came in, and we were chatting about sort of vloggers, and you know, I follow lots of different vloggers, and we were talking about, you know, what we get out of watching it. And for me, I feel it's something, it's sort of a bit of escapism. It's sort of going into this really nice, friendly world where we can talk about our passions of sort of yarn and knitting and crochet and whatever else, crafting. But it's sort of a safe space too, and everybody's so lovely and the comments are always so lovely. And we were just talking about that, and I just really wanted to reassure you that my aim is to keep this vlog exactly like that, so we don't have it too long, but it's also a place where you can come and enjoy and just hear what I have to share with you, and sort of talk about the fibres and my ideas about what I'm going to knit or crochet. But also it's that interaction. I'd like to hear from you too, so please do comment, and obviously subscribe, because the more subscribers we've got, the bigger the community is. So yeah, so that's sort of just what I wanted to say to start with. So that's sort of, I just wanted to sort of find out from you what you'd like to see, what you think, what I could do better, trying to improve every time in terms of the techie side of it. Completely new. If you could see me scratching my head, I literally am scratching my head, aren't I? If you could see me scratching my head over some of the tech, yeah, trying to improve it all the time, but it's a steep learning curve for me. So the other thing I want to know, and it sort of comes into finished objects, but it's one that you probably haven't seen, is a number of you commented that or suggested that I might like to wear some more colour, because I look quite pale in previous vlogs, and I do, you know, I'm naturally pale skinned. I'm sort of a typical sort of English pale freckly skin. So I quickly knitted it. I just wanted to show that I do wear colour, and this is a new knit. It was a really quick, easy knit. This design here is the pressed flower cowl. I think it's by Florence Sperling, but I will write that in the it will come up below, and I will put it in my notes as well. But this was a super lovely knit. It's done in DK. I've done the pressed flower shawl, which I love, and we've got it hanging in the shop actually. But I just wanted to knit a quick cowl. I had some DK that I wanted to use, this bright green, which is this one here, from Spectrum Fibres, and I paired it with some blue Blacker Swan DK, which is a lovely local. Blacker is a Cornish brand, a local yarn to us from a mill up in Launceston, and I really love it. I mean, I don't like cowls that are too tight around my neck, and this is actually folded over, so it is a bit deeper than that, but I do like to fold them over so that they sit slightly away. You don't want makeup all over them, do you? Because I do wear makeup again, because I'm pale. I try and sort of make sure I sort of don't look too washed out. So I do like to wear a little bit of makeup, not too much, but I don't want to get it all over my cowl or my clothing, because as a sort of luxury natural fibre yarn, I don't want to be hand washing it all the time either. So that's one of my finished knits. One of the next finished knits was the Juneau Juneau shawl, sorry, which I'm not going to take this one off and put this one on, but I'm just going to pop it on top of it. So this was knitted out of wool decanted 4-ply. It's quite a fine 4-ply, so I'd say it's like a light fingering weight. I chose to knit it in very similar colours to the pattern, but it is beautiful. It's a really lovely shawl. It's not too heavy. I think it will take me through sort of the spring when it can be a bit cool. I like to sort of wear things close to my neck, because if it is cold, the first place I feel it really is around my neck, and if I can keep that warm, it can keep the rest of my body warm. So I do like to wear a shawl, and this one, as I said, is not too heavy. Really nice, really easy pattern, just some stripes, some little eyelets. Hold it up so you can see it. Some little eyelet stripes in it, just to give it a little bit of interest when you're knitting it. So I really enjoyed that. So that's my other finished object. So 2 that were off the needles this time. So I was quite pleased with that. Going to go on to works in progress. And now, those of you that have watched from the first episode will know that I was sort of debating about cardigan to knit, and you gave me some fabulous suggestions. And I still sort of was umming and ahhing, and I thought, oh goodness, Jane, just make a decision. Otherwise I could just prevaricate forever. And I was going to knit, I wanted it in a natural colour. I just wanted it to be a really sort of utilitarian sort of cardi that I could wear, you know, over anything. So I opted for a natural colour, and I was knitting it up in this yarn here, which is the Herd Blueface Leicester. It comes in natural colours. They have got a couple of natural dyes too. and I thought, oh, is that going to be a bit too plain? So I did have a play. The herd comes in other colours, and I hope this is not too blurry, but I did sort of have a play to see if I could add in a little bit of pattern to the bottom, because you knit this cardi from the bottom up. It's, which cardigan did I knit? Geez, again, I'll put it on the bottom. It's one by Kate Davis. I've got her pattern book here so I can quickly look it up. It is, ooh, it is the Hern pattern. It has got some sort of design around the yoke, but you knit it from the bottom up. And when I chose it, I sort of thought, oh, right, I've made a decision, I'm gonna go with that one. And then I looked at the construction, and it's a steeked cardi, and despite the fact that I've been knitting since, well, before I was a teenager, I have never steeked anything. I've done afterthought heels in socks where you've cut in, but I've never ever plucked up the courage to have a go at steeking. So I thought, right, no, I've committed now, and I don't know about you, but I'm always learning new things, and I thought, other people do it, don't get nervous about it, reinforce it before you cut it. I'm sure it will be fine. Any of you that have steeked anything, if you've got any suggestions or tips or trips, just do let me know, because yeah, I shall be quite nervous cutting up into it. But so I looked at that sort of checkerboard that I did and thought, could I put that in? And then I thought, actually, that'll probably make it a bit too busy. So all I've decided to do, is, and it doesn't look very interesting at the moment, is I've knitted from the bottom up, and I've just put a little bit of darker wool around the edge of the ribbing at the bottom, and I will do the same on the cuffs and at the top of the collar. And then when I pick up the button band and knit across, I'm going to do it on the edging of the button band, just something that adds a little bit to it. This here, between those two stitch markers, is my steeking bit, and I've got to where I now have to knit the arms, and then I'm going to join it all together and knit the yoke. So it shouldn't take me too much longer to do that. But it did, funny, because it made me think, because on Facebook I joined a couple of different sort of Facebook groups that are just for knitting, and one of them was aimed at beginners. It's a massive group, there's lots of people in it. It was aimed at beginners, but more experienced people were on there too to sort of help out. And whilst I say the knitting community is a lovely space, I've noticed quite a few posts from people that are beginners who feel quite intimidated by the more experienced people on this Facebook group. And you do sometimes think that people who are really experienced, some of them are lovely and they want to share their tips and they want to help and support people and motivate people and give people loads of advice. But there are a few on there, I have to say, that are quite critical of the beginners, and it's sort of putting some of the beginners off. There's been some sort of comments on there that have upset some of the beginners, and I can really see why. And I just think, please be kind, because I'm always learning with knitting. I don't know about you, but I am always learning, and steeking is a prime example. I've never steeked, so for me it's a completely new process, and I just want to suck up all the advice anybody's going to give me, because I'm more than willing to sort of accept that I'm a complete novice when it comes to it. But it just struck me when I sort of saw this Facebook group, and I thought, you know, we just need to be really nice in this space, don't we? And most of my experience is that people genuinely really are. But it was just, yeah, it was just one or two people, and you think, oh, well, if you can't be nice and helpful, just please don't comment. I don't know how other people find Facebook, but I do get upset with people that sort of go on and feel it's okay to to be quite unpleasant to people or unkind, and it's just, you know, look what's going on in the world. Let's all be nice to each other. Anyway, that's just my thoughts. You might have a different thought. So finally cast on my cardi. I think by the next time I see you, I will have probably nearly finished it. And then I will be at the steeking stage. So yeah, any comments, any tips, you know, tell me what you've done. Yeah, I will share with you how that goes when I get to that point. But just trust me to pick something that ultimately I've got to learn a new skill. So one of the other things I've got on my needles is, and I don't know what way round this goes yet because I'm sort of working out the construction, but a number of you who are Andrea Mowry fans will have seen that she's just released a new pattern called the Everyday Cowl pattern, and you knit it flat and then you join it at the back, and she's got a really good YouTube video showing you how to join it so that these slip stitches, if I hold it there, these slip stitches that are here, when you actually join it, they sort of run diagonally across and are not staggered. And again, because I had this beautiful yarn, which is I hope you're getting that one, is another sort of double knit from Spectrum Fibres, and because I wanted to show you I actually do knit in colour. Honestly, generally I do. I wanted to knit this up, and I've paired it with some Mrs. Moon Plump, which is a British brand, Mrs. Moon, two sisters, Karen and Susan, based up near London. And they do this lovely range of yarn, and they're all named after puddings or desserts. So I can't remember what this mauve colour is called Summer Pudding, which is a particular favourite of mine. And yeah, so it's a super quick knit. I'm not far off finishing it actually. I've got to where I'm going to start to decrease it. So yeah, super quick, and that should definitely be finished in the next, probably this weekend. I'll get that finished. This one is much bigger. Where have I put it? Over here. I think last time I sort of talked about, I was thinking of knitting or crocheting a blanket, because I'd done a subscription to some mini skeins last year, and every month I got 5 DK mini skeins sort of in a palette that represented that month from Blue Fern Yarns. And I opted in the end for the Cozy Comfort blanket. This is so heavy. I don't know whether so that end there that you can see is January probably through to March, and then I'm going to unfold it. So as you can see, it's fairly generous. It is really warm and thick. So this pattern here is a mix of UK terms, crochet terms, is a mix of a double crochet and a treble, and I think in the US that's a single crochet and a double, and so you alternate the stitches to get this sort of effect. And I've done dishcloths and things using this effect before too, and I held it along with a pale grey, I'll pop it up here, a pale grey drops fingering weight yarn to make this up to a worsted weight. And I did do a few swatches to sort of check what size hook I should use, and I didn't want it to open weave, but I didn't want it really tight either. So I'm using a 4mm hook, and I found that's given me the nicest tension, and it's been lovely because it's been quite cold here in the UK. In the evenings I tend to sit and crochet, and I have it spread out over my lap and my legs, and as it's grown, it's got really toasty. So I'm up to the end of July, which is this colourway here, just about to start August, and I'll show you what August colours look like. So here are my colours for August. And as I say, I run each of them along with a pale grey, so it just gives a more subtle, muted effect, which I really like. So yeah, going great guns with my blanket. I'm really enjoying the crochet. I do enjoy crochet. I don't like really complicated crochet patterns, but I'm enjoying just having that. It's just having that one stitch all the time to worry about, and it is a nice contrast to the knitting, and it means that my my hands and things don't get too tired, or I don't get sort of aches and pains because I'm knitting all the time. One other little project, because I did go through, I don't know if you ever do this, but I thought, oh, I better go through sort of some of my other sort of things that I've started on and maybe tucked away in a bag or a project bag and haven't taken out for a long time. I haven't got too much. I'm pretty good. I think I've got a couple of sweaters. I've certainly got yarn with patterns ready to go for a number of things. But it sometimes depends on the time of the year, because I've got a few sweaters, like heavier sweaters that I'd like to knit, but as we move into spring, I'm not feeling like knitting them so much. But one of the things I did come across was this this little knit, which is actually a dishcloth. So that's one side, and then the other side looks like that. And I'm knitting it in our Nurturing Fibres cotton, which is a lovely cotton. The ladies who produce this cotton are based in a village in South Africa, and they have a community where they make this yarn and they dye it inspired by the sort of fauna and flora around them in South Africa. And it's a way to support them and their village and their families, and it is truly a beautiful cotton. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when I knit with cotton or crochet with it, I can find it a little bit tough on my hands because it's got no give, but this stuff is really soft. So yeah, it's something I thought, oh, I can pick that up and just do that anytime. Because I actually, surprisingly, haven't got a pair of socks on the needles at the moment. I'm just about to cast on another pair, and I'll show you that next time maybe. But yeah, I haven't got any socks currently on my needles, which is really unusual for me. But that's one I can walk and knit with, that little dishcloth. So and chat to friends when I go out for a coffee. So it's a really good little project. And I thought, oh, I can get on with that and finish it. I just wanted, talking about sort of my first blog, and I sort of mentioned my dog, and a few people have asked me about the dog. One of the things, I've always had dogs, never been more than about 3 weeks without a dog. Every time we unfortunately lose one, you know, I always say, no, gonna have a break, not gonna have another one. And yeah, I don't think I've lasted more than 3 weeks before we either get a rescue dog or a couple of times we've got a puppy. But I've always had boxer dogs, so they've always been the breed that I've loved, and yeah, I just love their character, and they're sort of special. So I thought I'd put in a little clip of my husband and I up on Kit Hill, which is a mining hill in the southeast of Cornwall. And it was a beautiful spring day, and I thought you might like to just see what the view's like, see that Cornwall's not all about the seaside all the time, that there are beautiful inland places, and I hope you enjoy this very short little clip, and then I will be back with some planned projects and some other things I am up to as well. So I hope you enjoyed that little clip. Bailey is nearly 9. He's 9 in about 3 weeks time. We've had him since he was a puppy, and he's he's like my baby now that my 2 children are grown up and moved away. But my daughter's actually coming home from Edinburgh for Easter, which is next weekend here in the UK. And the first thing she's gonna say is, I want to give Bailey a hug, and she always tells me that Bailey gives the best cuddles ever, and I think I agree with her. And my son came home for Mother's Day, which again in the UK was a couple of weeks ago, which was lovely. And I'm never sure whether they come home to see me or just because they want to see the dog and give him a huge cuddle. And he gets so excited, he gets beside himself when they come home, because he gets bored just with me and my husband. But yeah, so I thought I'd introduce you to Bailey. He's snoring away on the sofa over there at the moment, so I'm hoping that he stays there. So those are my works in progress, and I just wanted to probably talk about some of the other things that I'm thinking about planning, because as I said, that cardigan, I probably will finish that in the next couple of weeks. I don't think it'll be long. And I was thinking, what else do I want to do? I like to usually have a small project like the socks or that dishcloth on the go. I like to have a shawl usually, and also 1 or 2 sweaters. So one of the sort of sweaters that I was thinking about is having, I've knitted it before, was the Andrew Mowry stripes sweater, and I knitted it in, it's a sport weight sweater, and many of you I'm sure have knitted it, and I did like it. The only thing I didn't like so much, I knitted it so that it had the bracelet length sleeves, and I'm not a lover of that gap between your mid forearm and your wrist. It always feels as if something's missing there, and is whether I always feel as if my arm's too short. But so I would make the sleeves longer, but I thought actually I'd like to knit one in sort of like a spring, sort of fresher colour. And any of you who've knitted it knows that it's several different colours, and I've been looking at, again, hopefully you can see these colours here. Now this yarn is one that we do stock in the shop actually. It's from Beth at Telling Yarns. She is a producer that lives in the south of England. This is alpaca and merino sport weight yarn, and I just thought that these were really sort of fresh spring-like colours, and I thought, yeah, I quite fancy knitting one of those. Because it's alpaca, it's super soft, so I thought I'd give that a go. And so hopefully by the next time I see you I'll have cast that on. And the other one, and I think I mentioned it before, was, oh goodness me, I've forgotten what it's called. Again, I'm going to put it down below. I think it's a Monica shawl. It's because somebody who came on the retreat had knitted a beautiful one in some fibre by a company called West Green Loft Yarns. Vicky, who is the owner of West Green Loft Yarns, she has got the most stunning palette, colour palette. So do pop on and have a look at what she's got. She's just moved from the south of England up to I think she's in the Highlands of Scotland. So her colour palette might change a little or adapt to suit that, but she's just got a beautiful eye for colour. And this shawl, when you see the pattern, and I will put a picture up here of the original pattern, I wouldn't have actually looked at twice when I looked at the pattern, if I'd seen the pattern or come across the pattern on Ravelry. But when I saw it knitted up in a completely different colour palette, I was just like, oh wow. And all the other ladies on the retreat were like, oh, we want one of those. So I thought I'd knit one up. So the main part of the shawl, which on the picture is the dark colour, is going to be in this lovely sort of little pink yarn here. And then the 5 stripes, and they are 5 colours. I didn't want it, oh, excuse me, I'm leaning over here. I didn't want it to be, this is going to look really untidy. So these 3 colours here, plus these 2, will make up those shell, sort of little lace, it's sort of like a shell stitch, a little lace stitch. The different colours, I don't know if I can, because I always put, oh. So those are my colours that I'll be putting in it. So my plan is to get that one cast on in the next couple of days, and I will be steaming ahead with that. Something else I like to do other than knitting is embroidery. I really enjoy embroidery, and there are a couple of really great British embroidery design artists that I particularly like the most. And I went on a embroidery retreat before COVID, so probably a couple of years before COVID, out to France. It was run by a lady called Caroline Zoob, who's very well known as an embroidery artist, and has she produces quarterly embroidery sort of magazines full of great articles. And she put this kit up on her website, and I hope you can see that, but it's 2 ladies sat on the bench knitting, and I just couldn't resist it, and I thought I have got to make that one up. So as I said, it's just like an alternative thing to do, and I do enjoy doing some of that embroidery. But I am currently sort of just working my way through an alphabet sampler. I don't know, hold it here, you might be able to see it. If I hold it up close, you can see that these are beautiful little stitcheries, and the designer from this is called Nikki, and she has the stitchery. And again, do go on and have a look at Nikki's website. She does lots of online classes, she does subscriptions, she does great sort of Christmas projects, she's got loads of kits. And I met Nikki on this holiday as well, and she's gone on to do some amazing stuff. So both ladies have got some beautiful embroidery. So if embroidery is your thing, or you like to do it, it's a little bit of an alternative, I highly recommend going and checking them out and having a look at their sites. And if you do anything, do share if you've got any particular embroidery sort of companies that you like to get work from, because I do find it really therapeutic, and particularly I'm hoping when the sun's a little bit warmer and you can sit out in the garden, I do think it's a nice thing to do. So I think that's all of my knitting, and that's partly some of my sewing. So my final thing is to talk about, I said each time that I would talk about my favourite knitting tools, or to sort of showcase something that I particularly like when I'm knitting. And there are so many lovely companies that produce lovely needles out there, and I am, you know, I do sort of have a whole different, I mean, I don't know if you can see behind me my knitting, this is from, I think this is from Magpie Fibres. This is my knitting needle roll, which is full of needles. But if I have a particular favourite, it is the Chalgu needles. I have all the sets of the complete sets of the interchangeable needles, but the ones I really love are these little mini sets. I don't know if many of you really like the little shorty sets of needles, or like knitting with shorties, but I really do find them useful for, so inside a couple of them have I've probably got a couple of them out on. So inside, each of these colours is a different size needles. So this is the sock set, and you will see that you have different, oh, I'm going to pull them out here. Probably best if I put something behind them so that you can see. So the pins are different lengths, and what you do is attach those to your cable. The cables are really short for knitting socks or sleeves or anything that's a small circumference really. And I'm right-handed, so I have the longer pin in my right hand because ergonomically that feels more comfortable. But I love these for knitting small circumferences, and these go everywhere with me. So I'm about to, as I said, cast on the sleeve for my, I'm just trying to put that back in the right slot. I've done them wrong. I'll do that in a minute. The sleeves for my cardigan, my Hern cardigan, and I will be using those shorties because it means I can just go round and around. I do magic loop. Yeah, magic loop, fine with, but this is just easier. It stops that faff when you have to work one side, pull it through. And I'm not a double pointed needles fan at all. Some of you probably love them, and I know we have customers that are complete devotees. It's just for me, I've just never got on with them, and I find them all fingers and thumbs. So yeah, that's my go-to for small circumferences. So coming towards the end of my vlog this time, I hope that you've enjoyed it. As I said, I would really love to hear from you, what you'd like to have in terms of content, whether you'd like to have that live Q&A, whether we do sort of knit together sessions. You know, do you want to know anything about me? Is there something that you would like to know about me? You know, I've only come to my knitting shop, or only my knitting shop in the last 4 years. I've had a whole lifetime of working up until now, and I still do work outside of the shop. I have a number of other jobs too. I think they call it a portfolio career, and it seems to be something that you get as you get older. But I've predominantly worked in public health most of my life, and community development. So, you know, supporting the more vulnerable people in our society, and particularly around people with mental health or disabilities. And I've worked for the UK government and lots of and I continue to do that as a consultant. So, you know, knitting is my passion, and this is like my retirement project, the shop. But yeah, I do other things too. So yeah, so please, if you want to ask me anything knitting related, life related, just pop it in the comments below. Do subscribe, do tell your friends about the channel, because the more people we get, the better it's going to be. And I thought I'd leave you this time with a little video that I put together of a visit to a National Trust property, which is in Torpoint, again in southeast Cornwall. It was a beautiful spring day, and they had the most stunning woods. The property is owned by a family called the Kari Poles. They have owned property in this area for hundreds of years, and they have developed this beautiful woodland garden that runs down towards the river that runs between Cornwall and Devon, or the rest of England, as most people in Cornwall would say. And I went there with a friend because it was a lovely day and we wanted to walk. But also this time of the year in Cornwall, the magnolias and the camellias are absolutely amazing and stunning, and also the daffodils. Cornwall is famous for its daffodils, and because we have a quite sort of warm climate down here, the camellias and magnolias come out a little bit earlier here than they do in the rest of the country, and it just makes you feel that spring is very nearly here, and the warmer weather is to come here in the UK. So I just thought I'd take you with me. We had a lovely walk. I'll just sort of, you'll see that I've just put some little comments about some of the history things associated with that area and what it represents. And I just thought you might enjoy that. And I do plan to show you other parts of Cornwall on future videos. So thank you for listening. I will try and get back a bit sooner next time. Thank you for being part of my tribe, and I will see you soon. Bye. It's a beautiful spring day today, so I thought I'd bring you along for a walk along the river liner between Devon and Cornwall at Anthony Woodland Gardens. These gardens are famous for their camellias and their magnolias at this time of the year, so I thought it would be a great time to show them off.
Sugar